I wanted to talk to you about the magic of Maat, the importance and the greatness that comes with when you are flowing with Maat, when Maat is supporting you in every single way, and when you are in the flow of Maat instead of fighting against it, instead of trying to cut corners. There's a very specific difference between cutting corners, getting into scam, wanting everything for now, and making strategic moves. It's not the same thing. Cutting corners and making strategic decisions are not the same. When I talk about Maat and I talk about the importance of having a specific way of conduct, having a behavior that will ensure that you can sleep at night, that will ensure that you don't have to be worrying about people coming after you for things you've done to them, for things you try to grasp and try to grab. I mean, it's very, I think it's really part of the poverty consciousness. People who always try to manipulate you to get something out of you, to see if they can get that for free or get this and that, because they truly believe that there's not enough for everyone. They need to grab whatever they can grab because they feel like they will never otherwise receive what they deserve. They will never otherwise receive what they want or obtain what they want. I think there's in the modern cultures, a lot of time is all about instant gratification. If you talk to people who build successful businesses, they will tell you that even for business who took off overnight, the person will tell you that it was an idea. It took them time to shape that idea, to bring that idea to life, to invest in that idea, to create what they created. People who made a fortune and who have wealth are telling you that sometimes it's generational wealth. That so it's beyond them as individual. It's like their father, their grandfather, their great-grandfather. A lot of energy went into that. It wasn't some get-rich scam. And I mean, if you know anybody that did a get-rich scam or scheme and managed to build wealth, put it in the comments, because I'm sure everybody will want to know what kind of scheme it was, and maybe those people who are interested will, troll on and jump on to that, because for me, all of the mentors and the teachers I've seen that talk about wealth, that talk about something on anything, an empire, a family, something that you're building to pass the test of time, takes time, takes energy, takes effort. I'm not talking about working hard. I'm talking about putting in the time but working smart. And when you're working smart towards something you love, something you're passionate about, something you want to do, something you're really, really good at doing, time has a different hold. You can start working or doing things, creating, and realize that you've been up all night. And for you, 1 second was actually, several hours. What seemed to be a few minutes was several days. So I want you to understand that Maat as a system, Maat as an energetical power, is not there for you to cut corners. It's not going to ask you to cut corners. When you know what is your purpose and you know where you're supposed to go, you know you don't have to rush to it. And anyone that has any form and type of business know it takes time. Even being a YouTuber takes time. Even being a mom takes time. There are things you cannot cut corners. You can read all the books about being a mother, all of the books about being an engineer, all of the books about this and that, but it will take time, because it will take experience for you to actually understand what the hell you're doing. You become a mom the moment you start being a mom with actions, not when you're taking the classes or you're looking around. You become a mom when you start taking care of other people, when you start assisting other people, putting yourself in perspective with other people that you care about. And so for me, I want to stress this idea about cutting corners, about always thinking like the shortest route is not always the best. And I think this is also something I've discussed with the client, because I say there is a magic, there is a strength that you acquired when you search certain things on your own, when you acquire a certain knowledge, a certain experience on your own. When you acquire those things, when you start doing things and you take your time to understand them fully on your own, or with whatever assistance you get, but on a longer term, it gives you so much more value. You will value yourself so much more when you know how hard it took you to get there. It's just like any other accomplishments. Most of the people, when they say people who are really proud of themselves or proud of a project, the project that we are oftentimes the most proud of are those who require so much from us. Those who challenge us, those who had us almost give up because we felt it was so difficult. The projects that were easy, the projects that came right along, are not the one you're gonna remember. The one that's gonna mark you, and most of the time the one that gives you most value, that give you most impact for your energy, are those who are bringing challenges, are those where you need to make strategic moves, where you need to understand, you need to correct certain things, you need to manage these different things, and then it makes the process so much more appreciated. I mean, one of the reasons why I love the process of bringing those natural hair cards to life is because it really took me out of my comfort zone. I had to take my lawyer's hat off, and I had to let the healer in me, the creatrix in me, the artist in me speak and express itself. And it was very scary, because I wasn't used to letting her express herself like that, and I wasn't used to letting myself go, and I had to trust myself, and I had to correct it when there were mistakes that were being made, when the timelines were not as it was planned, and a process that maybe initially I thought once I get all of the ideas and all that in a few months I'll be able to realize that, because working hard, when you work hard, you can do things much faster. But stuff pop in, there's this issue, there's this delay, there's that, there's money running out, you have to go find some more money, you have to do this, you have to do that. So you have to be able to adapt, grow and expand as difficulties come along your way, and be careful and make sure that you're not overexpanding yourself, but that you persevere in the task and objective because you believe in yourself, and that you are willing to put the investment that is required of you in terms of time, energy, money, resources, basically. And so if someone is telling you to cut corners, what you do also have to understand, every time you cut corners, you are creating a vacuum that is not supposed to be there. If I may take an example, for one example would be the story of the little red hood, I guess, the Western story of the little girl who's supposed to go bring the cake to her grandmother. In different versions, there was one version that I've read that said that she could cross the woods, which was the fastest and shortest way to go it, or she could take the longer path that was outside of the woods that would still lead her to her grandmother's house. And in the story, she decides to take the shorter route because it's shorter, right? You gain time, it's so much faster, you get where you want to go, even though there's a big threat of the wolf being there, of this difficulty. Not to say that the longer path wasn't difficult, but the threat that was on that path was much less risky. And I think it comes down to that. People will say, well, the story ends well. She did go there, and then at the end, the wolf, depending on which version you read, the hunter comes by and kills the wolf and open up the wolf, and her grandmother get out, or whatever. But the point is to say that when you're taking the shortcuts and trying to cut corners and all of that, you have to be willing to risk everything and to lose everything. And to say that, okay, if I lose everything, it's okay. If I lose everything for this foolishness, it's okay. Because my family is still going to be able to eat. My family is still going to be able to live. I'm still going to be able to not have that fear to continue to create and jump on another project, etc., etc., etc. When you're taking the longer route, when you're putting in the perseverance and the energy, and you're going small and building up your idea, building up your business, yes, it takes more time, but it's much more safer. The risks are still there, but they're much smaller. You're building your clientele, you're tweaking certain services, certain products, and the approach is incremental. As you see that there's more demand, then you start producing more. So the loss is going to be also much less incremental, and it's much easier to correct as well. So when you're hearing people tell you to cut corners, you really have to be careful and see how it is applying. Unless it's somebody who's already in the field of where you want to be, like a mentor. If your mentor is telling you, stop trying to make it to be too safe and cut that corner. Because most of the time they're not going to tell you cut all the corners. They're not going to tell you have an attitude in business to looking for to cut corners all the time everywhere. They're not going to tell you that. It may be possible that you are one of those people that always want to play it safe, always want to do it like that, and then they're advising you on a particular strategy to cut corners. So you always have to fit in where the advice is fitting. Who is the person giving the advice? Does it make even sense to do that? Does it make even sense to follow? Those are parameters that you need to take in consideration. And to get back to the Maat, is like when you're cutting corners can mean a lot of different things in different type of meanings. Cutting corners could be, being willing to step on other people to get what you want. To not care if those children are not going to eat tomorrow, so long as yours are eating more than their share. To be able to take more than your share, to even take things that you didn't create. That can lead to all kind of different things. People stealing ideas that they saw from other people, and so long as they're making money, it's okay. So it will have a reflection on you. It will have a reflection on how you want to live your life. What are the principles guiding your actions, guiding your morals, and leading your family that you want to install in your children. And don't be surprised if you're teaching your children to cut corners that one of them may hurt another sibling in order to get ahead, or hurt someone else, the neighbor, or another person out there. And we all know that we can't have everyone trying to cut corners, because that means someone may hurt your children cutting corners. And if that's your own philosophy, you shouldn't be mad at them. So when you really think about it, we start seeing that those kind of philosophies are not things that are going to help everyone. And that's why I also mentioned that sometimes it may be relevant for you to cut corners because you are simply being too careful, too safe, and you're not taking actions fast enough for you to reap your benefits. That has nothing to do with instilling a culture or a perspective of immorality into your children or into your own lifestyle and way of life. And it's just like, if you watch, back in the days there was a series called The Sopranos. I think I watched the first season or something like that. I didn't really get into that. I didn't really like it much. But part of it was, this family which is basically in the mafia and doing all kind of things. And yeah, they're cutting a lot of corners. And yes, they were wealthy and doing pretty well, I guess. But at the end of the day, all of what they managed to accumulate was taken away because it was only illegal. So when you're cutting corners, you're always going to have that on the back burner, that possibility that everything that you're doing that's based on that can be taken away from you. And you kind of have to be willing to accept that. Okay? So that's all I'm going to be saying on this topic. And to get back to the Maat, it's like when you are living with the magic of Maat, you are living with a certain serenity, a certain peace, because you know that you haven't taken things from other people. You know that the business you build with your own mind, with your own energy, your own sense of self, with your own intelligence, with your own investments. You know that you are not using or abusing other people to make your business grow. You know that you're providing services or whatever you're providing to the world from your inner place to your outer space. So you know you don't have to. You're not worrying about something you did in the past. When you're walking into Maat and using the magic of Maat, that simply means that the action you're taking, the decision that you're making are on a vibration that is such that nothing can interfere with that. That's what it actually means. You are in such vibration, on a such flow and frequency that no one can interfere with that. If you have sometimes you have those radio stations where you constantly have to like try to turn the thing to be able to hear it. It's never clear, it's never quite clear. And then you have this other radio station where you just press the button and it's really loud and clear and you don't have to do much. That's what we're talking about here. When you're hesitating, sometimes you want to do something that's positive, sometimes you want to do something negative, sometimes you want to hit somebody or do something that's illegal, that's immoral, that's whatever, and then want to go back up to do something that's right, going up, going down, going up, going down. Then you're gonna rip that. Every time you went down, the balance has to be reestablished to be neutral, to be every time you go down and saying that you're taking from other people, you want to take more than what you can give to somebody. That's kind of the mindset when you're thinking, I want to cut corners, I want to get more, whatever I can grasp, whatever coupon, can I get this person to give me this stuff for less? Can I get this person to, maybe do something for free? Can I even lie to this person to get something for free? Or, that we're talking about business, but it could be in interpersonal relationship. It's like, can I lie to this person for, 4 or 5 months in order to be able to sleep with this person, even if I don't deserve it? Can I get this coupon, this special price, this special raise, even if I don't deserve it? And I don't deserve it because I don't really value this person. I don't really value the thing that I'm trying to get even at the first place. So that's kind of the mindset when you want to walk outside of Maat and you want to just cut corners, do whatever you want to do, even if it hurts other people. Because usually they say do whatever you want to do so long as no harm, or so long as it is for the good of all. Some people want to just say do whatever you want to do, period, or do whatever you want to do, even if the consequence is harming lots and lots of people from that. So it's a choice that you have to make every day, because nobody is shielded. Nobody. Even the people who think they are that much spiritual, every choice that they're making every day, every time there will be somebody coming to tempt you, coming to give you something that looks so good, just to see if you are still going to hold on to Maat, or choose to fall into whatever else is coming your way. And I'm not saying that to be scared, because we're all going to make mistakes. Sometimes we make decisions and we think it is the best decision in that situation because of XYZ. But then we realize those were not the best decisions, those were mistakes. And we learn from those mistakes, and when the situation represents itself in a different format, we are able to recognize it and we're able to move away from it and say, no, thank you. I already learned that lesson, so you have to go by and go to talk to someone else. And the more we manage to do that, the more strength that we get into ourselves. Just like self-love. When you start recognizing those patterns of people who want to abuse you and use you, people who don't give anything back. If you're a woman, a man who really basically after your looks and after wanting to sleep with you, and who doesn't really put any time trying to know you, trying to understand you, trying to see what kind of thing you can build together, the more and more you will try recognizing this profile and rejecting this type of people, the less of them are going to be coming. Same thing for a man. If you're trying to know a woman, take care of her and all of that, and you're seeing that she's just taking from you. She just wants, more gifts and more lavish things, and she's not giving anything in return. She's not inquiring about you. She's not trying to get to know you. She's not trying to know your dreams and see what you can build together. Those are the people who want to cut corners. Those are the people who want to get rich quick, or even die trying, like they say. Those are the hustlers, as sometimes I will say, because they don't understand that life is not based on a day-to-day. That you have to have a perspective, a long-term perspective. And I know all of this new age philosophy is going to tell you, no, you have to be in the now. It's all about the now. You only have one life to live. Life is short, blah, blah, blah. Grab whatever you can grab, even if you can't even carry it. Grab it and try to run away with it before they get you. And so that's really a new age philosophy, because when you go back to nature and you look at nature, the ant is not playing around in the summer. Just because it's summer, it doesn't mean, we stop working and we just hang out and chill and live in the moment. No, the ant is collecting the things that they're going to use during the winter when they're not going to have anything else. All of the bears are getting fatter because they know during the winter they're going to go and hibernate and they're not going to be able to eat. All of nature is telling you, they're all preparing. The birds are preparing their nest because they know winter is coming and they need to be ready. They're not thinking about the now. They think about what they need to do right now to prepare for the future. And that's how you should be thinking. Anyone that's building wealth and that's really thinking about taking care of their children and the generation to come are thinking about the action they're posing today and the effect that it's going to have in the future. Maat is about that, because if you just focus on right now, you may think this looks really good right now, and you may make a mistake because you just didn't take the time to think about, what kind of impact that's going to have tomorrow. And that's important. So living on the mat is, it doesn't mean that everything's going to be smooth. It never is. I don't know if there's ever a guru or someone who told you that, come do this initiation or be initiated to this or that and your life is going to be smooth and whatever. Because, look at it. Even if you look at whoever is giving that advice, their life is not even smooth. And that should be, to you, that should be an indication that initiation or spirituality or anything else that you're doing are just things that are going to help you when greater challenges are going to come, because challenges are always going to come no matter what. And as you grow, the challenges are going to get greater, are going to get bigger, because otherwise it wouldn't be worth it, would it? Kids don't have the same challenges as adults. So it's all about accepting that you're going to grow and finding for yourself the philosophy that will help you sleep at night, the philosophy that will help you not worry so much about your children and about the children's future, because you know that you have nothing to be scared of. Or if you decide to go and indulge in different other things, know that you're going to have to do a lot of other things. The path of cutting corners is the path that will going to require much, much, much more energy from you, because you're going to have to do a lot of protection stuff. You're going to have to do a lot of wanting and a lot of things, basically. And I'm not trying to dissuade you, because I know that there are already people on that path. That's why here we're having wars, we're having thieves, we're having all kind of things from people who genuinely think that resources are limited and that they need to grab whatever they can grab, that they're not going to have the opportunities that they should have, that it doesn't matter how many great ideas that they have, they're not going to have the energy to pull it off, or nobody is going to buy that idea. They're full of fear and they're full of poverty mindset and all kind of different things, and that is basically driving them to act in a certain way. But you don't have to act like that. You have the ability to discern for yourself and to choose for yourself. And if you decide to choose Maat, the beauty of it is that it's going to lead you on the path of least resistance. Meaning that when you're flowing with Maat, things are going to be much easier than if you were trying to cut corners. Opportunity is going to come to you, people are going to come to you, you're going to notice much more different things. The moment you decide for yourself to have a certain ethics, to have a certain morals, to have a certain way of life, those energies are going to be around you. Those energies are going to support you. And you will have so much less to worry about. Sometimes a lot of people talk about, doing all kind of protective rituals, but living according to the Maat is already calling onto you protective energies. And the further away you are from Maat, and the further away you will be from those protective energies. So it doesn't mean that nothing will try to come after you. It will just mean that they will have to pass through Maat first. And I want to leave you with this because I was watching yesterday, I was watching a couple of videos and looking at statistics and all that stuff, and planning a trip back home. And I saw that the statistics show that Africa, in 30 years, Africa will be the most populous continent, with 500 million more people than China, and 400 million more people than India. That Nigeria will be more populous than the United States. So when I'm talking about Maat always reestablishing balance, I'm not trying to woo you in some kind of twist of fantasy. I'm talking about something that's real. And what it translates in terms of population is that we, as African, we are not having more babies than we used to. The natality rate is still the same, but we are living longer. So it for me, it puts so much clarity into everything that's been said. When people used to say, you don't have that many hospitals, we are so poor, you are so this, you are so that, but there's so many wars, and yet our continent is going to be the most populous in the world, and basically erase the consequences of the different slave trade, whether it was the Islamic, Arabo-Islamic slave trade, or the transatlantic slave trade. So this to you is tell you that balance is always reestablished. If you take the allegory story of Isis and Osiris and Set, who wanted to cut corners, right? Didn't want to see if he could get some type of powers, rather kill his brother and take his place, because that's going to be the shortcut. And you see this played time and time again, especially in Western medieval times, where somebody is called to be king, and the brother or the other children are not happy, and they decide basically to kill that person to take his place, to have that power, even though they're not ready, even though they don't know what they're doing. They decide to do that because cutting corners, some people are like really into that, and now that we see slavery, a lot of people will say, no, you can have a lot of different discussion on that, but the bottom line is, if those people wanted to build America, why don't they build it themselves? No, because it was easier to cut corners and to enslave other people to do that for themselves, right? And lucky enough, several centuries, people will say several centuries, it took so much long. No, it doesn't take that much long, because in the meantime, until 2050, when Africa will be the most populous country, when this planet is going to be a melanated planet, dominantly melanated, and the darker people are going to be the most numerous on the face of this planet, things are going to be reestablished as it was at the beginning, so we'll be at the end, like they usually say. But I think all of those centuries gave us so much knowledge about ourselves, about our resilience, to know that we can endure so many things. And enduring slavery and enduring oppression and all different things did not prevent us to continue to create. Did not prevent us to continue to look at ourselves and grow and learn and nurture each other and ourselves. You know, and the proof is in the pudding when we're seeing how many babies we are able to bring on the continent, because we have certain familiar value. Because we know that having children is not a matter of how much you have in your pocket. Nowadays there was an article, and I'll see if I can find it, I will link in the description box. It's an article about a 10-year-old Nigerian boy who created an app and became a millionaire. His mother could have said, I can afford to have kids, you know? And I think that's why a discussion that we need to have. The value that we hold as African in terms of the value of life and the value of family and community is not the same as the Western world. And if you're in the diaspora, you really need to rethink about the different values. You need to really rethink about how you honor your ancestors in your daily life by your actions. And it is very imperative that we as a nation start to understand our place and start to understand the morals that we need to have in order to be ready when the time comes to lead the planet again. Because that's where it's heading. It's inevitable. It is inevitable. It starts with us. It starts now. We are teaching our children what they need to do, what they need to know. We will be returning, and that's already a planetary trend, to using plants instead of pharmacy and all those kind of sorcery for our health, and also in terms of relationships. I cannot stress enough the importance of you on working on yourself instead of always trying to do magic on other people. I'm going to keep continuing to say this in every single video, or every video I get the chance to, because it's important that you understand that you need to be working on your own self. If you cannot do a spell on your own self to be more patient, to develop more creativity, more integrity, more perseverance, more motivation, you have no business doing spells on other people. And I wish you could understand that the true power of a witch, the true power of a magician, of an occultist, of a mystic, is to understand your own power, the own power that you have on yourself. That no matter what situation you're in, you are able to use that to your own advantage.